There, and welcome to Why 5% Succeed. This is the show where we're sharing some great techniques, tactics, tips, and tools that help entrepreneurs and small business owners really grow their businesses quickly. I'm your host, Elaine Starling, and I am so delighted to have you here today. I'm going to be sharing some information from a fabulous book called How the World Sees You. Discover your highest value through the science of fascination. It's by Sally Hogshead, and I got to meet Sally at the Traffic and Conversion Summit in San Diego earlier this month. She is a fascinating lady, and she's done a ton of research. Her background is actually advertising and doing copywriting, and she delved into what is it that makes a brand really unique and really special. Well, she's been able to document everything that she's done as a science, and it's really a science about fascination. What is it that makes each individual person really unique and distinct and incredibly valuable to the rest of us? Now, I think that the information in this book, How the World Sees You, is so insightful and it's so important at growing your business. I really honestly believe that the companies that are going to be leading our economy over the next decade, they're going to be the ones that are following the principles in this book, in How the World Sees You. The information is so immediately valuable and so accessible that I just wanted to share some highlights with you today. Now, Ms. Hoghead has discovered that there are 7 different ways to communicate, and each one offers distinct advantages. Your automatic communication style is truly your unique advantage as long as you understand exactly what it is and how you show up at your very best to create the most value for other people. Now, we're going to cover 3 different things today. There's so much that you could cover in this book. Obviously, it's pretty thick. She goes through a lot of information, but I wanted to give you some quick highlights. First, we're going to talk about the 3 big attention challenges that you're facing. Then we're going to cover how you can actually tell that you're adding value. And then finally, we're going to get to the 7 different communication styles and what they actually reveal about you. What is that incredibly unique and valuable thing that allows you to stand out from the pack and attracts your clients to you? Well, the first step is really about attention. That is the most precious thing anyone has to offer, is their attention, their time, their focus. There are so many distractions. It's really, really hard to pay attention to that. Now, when you think about the world and how you show up in the world, there are actually 2 different ways that you connect, right? First is the way that you perceive and process all that sensory data that you absorb from the world around you. There are great tests like Myers-Briggs or DISC, maybe StrengthsFinder. I've talked a lot about StrengthsFinder. Those are all really excellent tools that help you understand how you perceive and process all that information that comes through your 5 senses. Now, that kind of an approach is really about how you go from the inside out so that you're connecting from inside to out with the outside world. And that's really, really helpful information to have, but it's only 50% of the picture. It's only half of what's really happening in your world. And if you're walking around with just one eye open, it's really hard to get that overall perspective and see what's truly happening and why certain clients are just automatically attracted to you and why others are a little put off by you, right? So the second way that you connect with the world around you is how other people experience the value that you create when you show up at your best. This is where just think of this as people outside you automatically benefit massively from you just when you're showing up authentically, being the best you that you can be. So it's the outside in. It's that energy, it's the approval and appreciation that you're receiving when you're in the zone and you're just so on and in tune that you're automatically adding huge value to others around you. And in today's massively distracted marketplace, understanding exactly how you're adding value is really important, because that's when it allows you to differentiate yourself so that you can in turn create even more value. It's a loop cycle that you go through. Now, it's really important that you don't fight who you naturally are. Who you are is really brilliant, and it's exactly what we need most right now. You've got an opportunity to leverage the best of who you are, that value that you automatically create for other people, just by accepting, owning, and then optimizing your automatic and authentic communication style. This isn't something that you had to learn or something that you adopted. You didn't have to get a degree in this. It's hardwired in you. It's a part of your DNA. It's just how you automatically show up when you're not even thinking about it. So how do you know how other people are perceiving you? What is your unique value as it's experienced by people around you? And why is it so important for you to understand the value you create? Well, bottom line, when you can look at yourself from the outside in and then systematically measure the effect that you have on your listeners, on your clients, you can dramatically improve your results. There was a really interesting article in Forbes magazine, and they were talking about how Carnegie Institute of Technology did some research. And their research discovered that 85% of your financial success is actually due to your skills in human engineering. Those are things like your personality, your ability to communicate, your ability to negotiate and lead others. Carnegie Institute of Technology was a little appalled to discover that only 15% of your financial success is due to your technical knowledge. Who you are being in terms of the value that you create for other people is so much more important than what you actually do. It's not your title that people care about. It's how you show up that really matters. In fact, according to author and marketing entrepreneur Dan Kennedy, the higher the income, the more the person is paid for who they are rather than what they do. And who you are is all about the way the world sees you and how the world experiences your value. Now, one of the things that I teach my clients is how to create a uniquely rewarding experience that expresses who they really are and also creates those incredible outcomes for their clients. Every single person wants a rewarding experience. In fact, you sort the world, you sort every single thing you do, and everything you want is based on how rewarding you think it's going to be to you, that wonderful outcome, how you're going to feel once you accomplish something. Isn't it nice to know that a lot of people automatically find you rewarding and they want to have a lasting experience with you? You know, in today's world, the most valuable currency is attention. I was saying that just a little bit earlier because when you're able to capture somebody's attention, only then do you have an opportunity to create a connection with them. You've got to get noticed or you're done before you even get started. And there are a number of challenges in trying to get attention from people today. As long as you understand how the world sees you and experiences your value, it's really easy for you to overcome the 3 big attention challenges. So let's take a look at each one and what happens for you once you understand how the world sees you. So the first big challenge is distraction. Distraction really threatens your ability to connect with your ideal clients. Because look at it this way, there's over 9,000 different messages bombarding people every day. And on average, you can remember maybe 3, 4 tops out of 9,000 messages. Now, imagine that you understand how the world sees you. All of a sudden, you're able to communicate clearly and purposefully. You come from your value. You use your natural communication style. When that happens, your listener is much less likely to feel overwhelmed or confused. They actually feel so much more confident in you and your message and what you're saying. Your communication is so much more likely to influence your listener's actions. Because when you're in that zone, when your communication is authentic and real, they're actually able to absorb what you're saying. They receive the full value of your message. Even better, the recipient can appreciate why you are exactly the person who's best suited to help them reach their desired result. When your communication automatically adds value, people want more. They want more communication with you. That's what a relationship really is. it's just a series of rewarding experiences. That's what a relationship is. So when you're able to create that incredibly rewarding experience, people come back to you again and again, because every single time you're adding more value. That kind of a value cycle is what creates loyalty. You're able to overcome distraction really quickly as long as you know your natural communication style and the value that that creates for recipients. Really important to get a handle on that. That's why I'm so in favor of this book, How the World Sees You. Now, the second big thing that distracts people, prevents people from really giving you their attention is competition. There's so much competition in today's marketplace, it really threatens your ability to stand out and win. Now, there's this myth going on, this myth that somehow you have to be better than your competition. But there's actually something better than better, and it's completely documented in this book. Sally Hogshead has done a fabulous job at proving that different is actually better than better. Different is better than better. Love that. You need to learn exactly what makes you so fascinating, because when you understand that, it's a competitive edge. There was a great Harvard Business Review article in 2012. They had a poll of over 100,000 decision makers. And in this poll, they discovered that 39% of business-to-business buyers actually select a vendor according to the skills of the salesperson. Not price, not quality, not service features. Almost 40% of buyers are selecting the vendor based on the skills of the salesperson. Why? Because people buy from those that they know, like, and trust. The people who are providing a unique and rewarding experience. Your communication advantage is a really significant differentiator. Studies show that your personal confidence level actually increases in a business situation by 34% when you're able to understand your unique communication advantages. Because when you do, you much more clearly and automatically communicate the value you contribute, instead of just saying, well, here's my business card, here's my title, this is what I do. Is the difference between features and benefits. Your value is the benefit that you provide to your clients and your prospects. You can really quickly defeat the competition entirely when you know what your natural communication style and value is, and you speak from that standpoint. Now, there's a third thing that's really, really preventing you from catching attention. Unfortunately, it's called commoditization. Commoditization is really dangerous. It threatens your relationships. It can destroy loyalty. Now, you've got two choices, okay? You can be a humongous brand, have a massive marketing budget where you're spending hundreds of millions of dollars to saturate the market with a lot of information and message. That's a push strategy. Well, if you're a small business owner like me, that's kind of not an option. So your better way to go is to find ways to be much more fascinating to your listener. This is a pull strategy. It's also called an attraction strategy. See, the challenge is, if others perceive you as a commodity, you're a dime a dozen. It's so easy to replace you. You're really, really vulnerable to losing business. But you can completely avoid commoditization by focusing on the ways that your personality is uniquely suited to solve specific types of problems, as well as create specific kinds of opportunities. You can completely eliminate competition and commoditization when you know your natural communication style and value. So I hope you understand that you can completely differentiate yourself. You don't have to worry about the competition. You'll never be a commodity again once you understand how the world sees you. That's great, but how can you tell when you're really adding value? What does adding value look like? What does it sound like? How can you see it when it shows up in front of you? Well, there are some specific things that you can look for that will indicate that you're adding value. You become admired for a noteworthy ability to contribute a specific benefit. Remember, we were talking about features versus benefits? Well, it could be that you've got a really deep knowledge on a specific topic. Maybe you have a really prized skill You can hone in on exactly what makes a business work. Maybe you offer a special service, or you have an elite network. It's really powerful when you've got a community of people that you can bring to the table. You notice you're adding value when you're worth a lot more than you're actually being paid. Now, I always teach my clients on how they contribute 4 different types of return on investment. There are 4 different ways you create a return on investment for your clients, and it's really important that you track that in a measurable, documented way, because then you can actually go back and prove to your clients, set their expectations, and show them that you're worth more than what you're being paid. Now, you also know you're adding value when you deliver more than what is normally expected by everybody else in the industry. You go above and beyond the norm. You really stand out as someone who has very high standards. In fact, you know you're adding value when you're the preferred option, even when you cost more and it's more difficult to work with you. You're more expensive and less convenient, and people will line up around the block for you. You know that you're adding value when you're that preferred option, and your peers go out of their way to get your opinion and to get you to participate in what they're working on. Your clients actively choose to work with you. Even when there are lots of other options that are more convenient, less expensive, you're that nexus point that they want to be a part of. In fact, your investors are actively seeking your input. They're spending their time, their energy, their focus, their interest into creating a relationship with you. That's a clear sign that you're adding value. And when your partners consider that the relationship they have with you is really healthy and thriving and growing and dynamic, that's a clear sign that you're adding value. There's all kinds of things that you can look for, and it's a lot easier when you understand how the world sees you, how the world experiences you. Now, Sally Hogshead is saying that you're most valuable when you provide your highest distinct value. And I want to explain how she defines your highest distinct value. Highest is the pinnacle of who you already are. What makes you already exceptional? There's nothing special new that you have to do. You don't need another certificate. You don't need another degree. You are already exceptional. What is that? What is that? That is when you're at the pinnacle of who you are. Then distinct is how you're different. Remember, different is better than better. And there's some specific things that I teach my clients, things that they can point out on how they are distinct and different. Remember blue ocean strategy, how you want to rethink the marketplace so that you stand out from the crowd. There are specific components that you can look at that will make you very distinct. Now, the third part of this, highest we talked about, distinct we talked about, value. Value is your specialized ability to deliver above and beyond what's expected. That's so important. So highest distinct value, the pinnacle of who you already are, what makes you exceptional, how you are different, and your specialized ability to deliver above and beyond what's expected. Now, one tip that I like to share with everybody is that people are really bad about remembering facts and figures, but emotion that you generate with a personal anecdote or a story, it's really amazing how much people will remember. They'll remember the facts and figures if you share a story. So once you inspire that emotion, you're able to capture the attention of your listener. They're much less likely to disengage. They're more likely to remember and respond to your message. So whenever you can craft a story around what you're doing, that's really powerful and compelling. I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the 7 communication styles, each of which is a very unique language of value. I'll just give you a quick description, and then we'll delve down into each one with a little bit more description, in fact, a little story, so that maybe you see yourself a little bit in which communication style tends to be your primary form of communication. So the first one we're going to talk about is power. When you have a power communication style, you communicate with authority and confidence. You're very confident, goal-oriented, and decisive. When you have more of a passion style of communication, you automatically build connections with warmth and enthusiasm. You're very engaging, expressive, and intuitive. When you've got more of a mystique communication style, you impress people with your analytical skills and very thoughtful communication. You tend to be someone who's very observant, independent, and logical. It's very attractive. The prestige style of communication is someone who earns respect by setting very high standards. You're extremely respected, you're ambitious, you are results oriented. It's very compelling to other people when you have that prestige communication style. Now, another very valuable communication style is called alert. Someone with an alert communication style keeps people and projects on track. They manage the details. They're really dialed in. This is someone who's very detailed, very organized, and proactive. Extremely valuable. Someone with an innovation style of communication pushes a company to innovate with very creative ideas. This is someone who's creative, entrepreneurial, and a visionary. Extremely valuable when your company needs to continually be ahead of the curve. The trust communication style is someone who earns loyalty. They're very consistent and familiar. They're always present. You can count on them. This is someone who's very stable, very dependable, and familiar. Trust is an incredibly valuable asset. So those are the 7 different communication styles, but I want to go back and take a look at each one in more detail, in more depth. Let's start again with the power communication style. Someone with a power personality speaks a language of confidence, and you tend to lead through authority. You inspire others through much bigger goals and stronger opinions. Since you usually know what you want, you often lead the discussion. A power personality asks very direct questions. You tend to take charge of a conversation. You lean in and you step forward. You don't mind an argument either. You're a very formidable debater. You know how to put your own case forward, and you're good at emphasizing your key points. You really don't back down from those head-to-head confrontations or counter arguments. You love that. You're really comfortable in a leadership position, and you're able to motivate other people to rise to their best. You are decisive. You're self-assured. You don't mind being the one who has to make a tough decision. You know that you need to take some considered risks in order to achieve the goals that you have. And you're fine with both a carrot and a stick, whatever it takes to get it done. You can do it. Personalities with a power communication style speaks the language of confidence and leads through authority. Very compelling, obviously very powerful, and clearly a leadership style. But you know what? There are other personalities, other communication styles that are equally valuable and very, very powerful at differentiating you in the marketplace. Let's take a look at the passion style. More of a passion personality speaks the language of relationship. You're really good at creating warm, emotional connections with other people. You've got an innate ability to forge relationships. You build really wide networks, social networks and professional networks. You're really approachable. You're gregarious. You build rapport with your prospects, with customers, with colleagues, and it really allows you to excel in positions that require a strong interpersonal skill. Remember the power of the personal capabilities. That's 85% of your financial ability is when you've got that passion and that drive. Someone with a passion personality might be perceived as more of a social butterfly. You have very animated facial expressions, body language, and vocal intonation. A passion personality uses a very expressive style to keep people focused and engaged. And you kind of know what people are thinking when they've got that kind of a passion personality. They've got a really open countenance. You can read what they're thinking on their face. They're also very tuned in to your emotions and your feelings. If you're someone who has that passion personality, you're always on the lookout to read the person that you're speaking with. You're very intuitive, and socially savvy. You tend to modulate and mirror your interactions because you're constantly looking for cues about somebody's internal state. And someone who has this passion personality, when they're in a leadership position, they tend to make decisions with more of a visceral approach. It's not purely hard data. You go with your gut. And as a manager, you're known for watching after your people. You really take into account their emotional state, right? You're a cheerleader. You keep everybody involved along the way. Someone with a passion personality speaks the language of relationship. They create a very warm, emotional connection with others. It's an incredibly powerful communication style, highly, highly valuable. Now, someone who's got a mystique communication style, that kind of a personality speaks the language of listening and thinking before speaking. These are amazing people. They tend to be solo intellects. They're behind the scenes. They see the nuances of a situation. They tend to think things through so that they can communicate with facts. If you are a mystique personality, you're much more likely to under-communicate because you're very independent, you're analytical. You like to gather up a lot of evidence before you reach a conclusion. You love to analyze statistics before you make up your mind. Mystique personalities really excel at decoding nuances. These are people who very skillfully outline strategies, but only after careful reflection. If you have a mystique personality, you are an incredible negotiator. You're amazing. None of that bullying, the tricks, all that stuff, pressure doesn't faze you one iota. Your interaction style can occasionally be perceived as a little intimidating, maybe a little bit aloof, which can also be an advantageous position for you. You have very measured, deliberate, and carefully prepared information. You tend to objectively weigh options rather than just following somebody's advice. And in a sales situation, you tend to present the facts, the statistics, the relevant details. You summarize and very carefully present just those key points. Someone with this mystique communication style tends to be unaggressive. They're not real flashy. They impress clients with objective, concise, compelling views. Your ideas are respected because every single thing you say is very carefully considered. A mystique personality speaks the language of listening and thinking before speaking. What an incredibly useful, powerful skill. Now, someone with a prestige communication style speaks the language of excellence, achieving success by setting really high standards. If this is you, your personal and professional aim is to always get better. You want to exceed expectations. When excellence matters, you know how to push for success. You're someone who's very ambitious and determined. You just don't want to disappoint. You're really good at helping and encouraging your coworkers to achieve in everything they do. You're a little bit of a perfectionist. You're admired for your attention to detail, for your expertise, and your high quality results. You never do good enough. That's just not who you are. You strive to improve your performance and continually achieve your goals. Someone with a prestige personality, they tend to study personal and business heroes so that you can advance your own communication skills. Everybody seeks you out for your guidance on what to do, how to do it, and where to go. You set a standard that other people want to follow. You are deservedly proud of your achievements. And in a leadership position, you're someone who's intensely focused on achieving results. That's really where you live. A prestige communication style speaks the language of excellence, achieving success by setting very high standards. Now, if you're someone with an alert communication style, you're incredibly valuable because you speak the language of details with careful precision. You are somebody who's very watchful, very aware. You have the ability to manage complex projects. You have more of a risk-averse attitude, and that's great because it helps you avoid making mistakes. You know that the critical path of any project is just totally etched in your brain. You understand that minor issues can cause major delays. So you're really tuned in and you never lose track of deadlines. You're able to juggle conflicting requirements, like meeting tight deadlines without compromising product specifications. You tend to be somebody who's very practical and pragmatic. You take a step-by-step approach to reaching team goals, and you tend to focus on the task at hand. If you're someone who's a project manager, you focus on delivering results on time and within budget. Now, if you're a very senior manager, you tend to watch the bottom line. As a leader, you are in control. You are very aware of what needs to happen when, and you've got detailed to-do lists. You're able to get people to take immediate action when required. People really listen to you. Alert personalities are people who keep the discussion focused. They create urgency when it's needed, and they don't accept complacency. You're someone who's very sensitive to other people's wishes and expectations, but you're really good about keeping health and safety in mind at the same time. Someone with an alert communication style speaks the language of details with very careful precision. So incredibly valuable, and you definitely want an alert communication style person on your team at all times. Highly valuable if that's you. Someone with an innovation communication style speaks the language of creativity, new ideas, and solutions. You're someone who really loves adventure. You love to experiment with different things. You've got a talent for new thinking that helps you come up with totally unexpected solutions. Someone with more of an innovative communication style is able to very quickly develop a profusion of ideas. You are probably a little irreverent and very entrepreneurial. You tend to encourage other people to break their habits, try new things, fresh ideas. You're great because you prevent your company from going stale. You might get a little bit impatient when you have to follow a routine, but someone who's got that innovative communication style can make the mundane look like an adventure. They can really get the team to try new techniques. And you'll find that they get a lot of energy. Someone with this style gets a lot of energy from brainstorming sessions. Procedures might be a little dull and boring and wearing for somebody with this style, but you're super comfortable with change. In fact, you may make ad lib, impulsive changes that is because you're jumping ahead. You don't think linearly. You make very unusual associations. Now, if you're somebody with this innovation style and you're in a position of leadership, you tend to focus on the big picture and you rely on your team to fill in the details. You're somebody who's a visionary. You forge ahead to implement change. You're very happy to take risks because that's part of the adventure, right? That's what innovation's all about. You tend to make snap decisions based on a gut feel rather than go into analyzing a ton of options in detail. Someone with an innovation communication style speaks a language of creativity, of new ideas and solutions. So important, so valuable. Now, if you're somebody who has a trust communication style, you're speaking the language of stability because you're able to build loyalty over time. And it's that consistency that gives you a huge edge on all these other communication styles. You're really, really good at following through on what you promise and delivering on time. You're known for being incredibly dependable, committed, and trustworthy. You are very steady and focused, so you get things done. You love to follow a proven method. You are so good at creating order out of chaos. You're excellent at creating a solid plan of action and responding to situations in a very predictable way. You're someone who can make decisions that really benefit the team, even if that means extra work or a complication for yourself, because you're just so good at seeing the process, at turning things into a simple system, a simple process. And because of that, you tend to prefer to work with very familiar faces. You're a hard worker. You're totally committed to getting the job done. You're probably somebody who's really good at identifying what's worked in the past, how things are usually done. You're great at going with the flow instead of addressing challenges that you might get from some of the stronger communication styles. You tend to explain the unfamiliar by using very familiar points. And you launch new products by pointing out what has remained the same instead of what's new and different. Someone who has a trust personality is an awesome client for you because they don't switch to other suppliers very easily. They want to work with somebody they know, like, and trust. They already have a relationship with you and they want to keep that going. They expect a consistent standard from you. They tend to be people who are very calm leaders. They don't take big risks. You're probably somebody, if you have a trust communication style, you like organic growth over kind of a takeover strategy, right? You like to be very organized and you deliver high quality work consistently. You are highly respected for your hard work, quality, and reliability. If you have a trust communication style, you speak the language of stability to build loyalty over time. Well, you can see that every single one of the 7 communication styles or personality types adds a lot of value. And in reality, it is your unique advantage. It's your custom capability that really makes a huge difference to everybody who knows you. Now, I'm going to share my screen with you because I want you to see where you can go to get your own test done. If you go to https://ea106.isrefer.com/go/apcc/5% and you use the special code TCS-5%, you'll be able to take the quiz, the How the World Sees You test, and you'll get some great information about how the world sees you, how you show up, and the difference that you're making for your clients. I really want to thank you for being here with me today. I hope you've enjoyed some of the information that I shared from this fabulous book, How the World Sees You by Sally Hogshead. It is amazing. If you follow the ideas in this book, it's going to differentiate you from everybody else in the marketplace. And remember, different is better than better. This is Elaine Starling. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.